Yeah, a lot of Connors in this world, man.
Yeah.
A lot of
Big T.
I found that shit out like
We've known
Also
each
too
other about
recently.
18
like
months.
it's like 2 years into knowing you. I found out your name.
That's so funny.
That shit
Yeah,
is. I was
that's
like,
hilarious.
who's Connor? He's like, that's my name.
I'm going to be honest, dog. I didn't know what your real name was. The Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups every Tuesday and Friday, playing for the right to advance in the single elimination in-season tourney, culminating in the NBA Cup championship in Vegas. Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the best place to bet NBA player props. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking how many points your favorite player will have. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. First time, here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code MACRO, that's code MACRO, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Hello, everybody out there. Welcome back to the Macrodosing podcast. It's me, Arian, Big T, Matty Mac on the ones and twos. PFT's out with auto brewery syndrome, which is, it's kind of unfortunate. It's sad. He's not doing too well, which is a real syndrome. Look it up. He's got diagnosed with it, so we're keeping him in our thoughts and prayers. So get better, PFT. We hope you're doing well, fella.
What do you think of his full head apparatus he's wearing this morning?
I still haven't seen it. You just said it. I hadn't seen it. But you said it's a blindfold that plays music.
Mackenzie said it plays music. I can't confirm that, but he's wearing a full head cover, like eye mask, because he's got a little headache. And apparently, Mackenzie said it plays music. That seems antithetical to me if you're trying to avoid light and stimulus. But I don't know. Maybe it'd plays a nice little soothing tune, some lo-fi beats.
He's different, man. He's a hobbit, dog. They got different anatomy.
He's got the dog in bed with him. I'm sure you'd love that.
Yeah, I saw. Is he one of the ones that kisses dogs and shit?
I would be surprised if Blake has not kissed him a time or two, for sure.
That he kissed him. It wasn't the other way
Well,
around.
I mean, dogs love to kiss you.
Do they?
Most of them, yeah.
Or they just tasting flavor? I don't know enough. Maybe they just smell the remnants of food in your mouth and they just try and get a little lick of it, or do they actually? This is how they show. Because to my knowledge, I don't know. I could be wrong. We did that wrong, but to my knowledge, don't dogs like sniff each other and that's how they vibe out with each other?
Apparently, when kissing a human, dogs are communicating that they are friendly and non-threatening. Puppies continue this behavior of licking faces with humans who typically react with attention, affection, and play. These outcomes teach puppies that licking their humans continues to work as a behavior that leads to good things.
Good dogs.
So do they do? So, but dogs don't lick other dogs to show
They
that they're
lick their
non-threatening.
butts or sniff their butts.
See, this is why I'm skeptical about this claim. I don't know. I got to pour over the data, but I'm skeptical about this claim. So they don't treat their own species like they do their humans.
But that makes sense though, because if they lick you and all of a sudden you go, "Oh, good dog," and give it a bunch of attention, then it's gonna be, "Oh, I should do that."
But dogs have friends, right? So why wouldn't they? Well, my thing is why do they differentiate the behavior they show towards, good behavior towards humans as they do with dogs? It's just very.
I don't know. Maybe they just know, because you've seen two dogs, they go up to each other, they kind of look at each other for a second, and then they just start running around and playing. I guess that to them, they know they're good to go. Whereas humans, maybe they want to show that it's different. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I guess dogs are smart to a certain extent, but to differentiate and to change behavioral patterns, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too deep about it. Shout out to all y'all who kiss your dogs, man. I'm sure that does amazing things for you and them. No judgment on this side. Not something I would do, but
Have we
different
ever
strokes.
looked into, is it true that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's? That can't be true. I've
see
never
how that
done the
can be
research
true.
on that.
Let's crack the case right now.
So, according to the American Kennel Club, no.
That sounds like a biased source.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
oh, but if they say no, then it's for sure no.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
they
mean,
said no?
American Kennel Club's legit. You've probably heard the expression, a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's mouth, at least once in your life. Most of us have just accepted this as fact, but have you ever wondered if it's actually true? Here's a hint. No. Comparing a dog's mouth to a human's mouth is like comparing apples and oranges. This is because both dog and human mouths are full of microbes. While there is some overlap in the types of bacteria between species, there are also a host of different dental bacteria in your dog's mouth that you won't find in yours.
I'm seeing that dogs have approximately 600 different species of bacteria, while humans have around 615, and that's where that claim comes from, which is nonsense.
But not all bacteria is bad bacteria, right?
True, and yes, and it's also just like that's not the only thing to consider, and those are virtually identical.
Yeah. Yeah, I was always skeptical of that claim because I'm looking at these cats and they'll lick anything, they'll chew on anything, most anything, and I'm just like, how after a fresh touch with Arm & Hammer and a nice toothbrush with a little bit of Listerine, how the fuck is that nigga's mouth cleaner than mine? I was always skeptical of that shit.
Yeah.
Always.
Speaking on oral hygiene, it says, comparing the cleanliness of human and dog mouths misses a major point, oral hygiene. Both dogs and humans are equally susceptible to dental disease and benefit from good oral hygiene practices to keep their mouths clean and healthy. Because you are supposed to, like, brush your dog's teeth sometimes.
I thought they have, like, special, like, chew toys to kind of, like...
Yeah, like,
you can give them, like,
that.
treats that are supposed to clean their teeth and shit, but who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I did have a dog, I remember his breath was always funky.
Yeah.
And just I was like, he would be panting around me, and I was like, bro, I'd be like, push his head away from her. That shit is nasty, dog. Literally. Yeah, I'm glad we cracked that case. Myth busted. Dog's mouths not cleaner than humans' mouths. So don't take it up with me. Take it up with science. Dog lovers out there. How's everybody doing today, man? Let's start the show.
I'm doing average.
That's good for a Big T.
It's a good spot to be in.
It's a good spot to be in, dog. You want
Don't
to
get too high, don't get too low.
You want to kick it off early with how your squads did?
Vols won. Nico did get hurt. Did not play in the second half. It seems like he's going to play Saturday against Georgia, biggest game of the year. I do want to, for 1 second, we don't need to do a ton of college football or stuff on this show, but I do want to. There seems to be a narrative out there, Arian. I don't know how closely you follow this stuff.
Talk to me.
But the college football playoff this year, it's expanding to 12 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And coming into the season, it was a pretty foregone conclusion, I would say, by most people. If you go 10-2 in the SEC, you'll get in. Because obviously, extremely tough schedules. There's way more spots now. You'll get in. Well, we've reached a situation where it looks like there could be 6 SEC teams that finish 10-2, which creates a bit of a problem. And it seems like the narrative out there is that Tennessee is going to be the one that gets fucked if this comes to pass. And I just can't. And I should say also in this scenario, Alabama would be getting into the playoff with the same record as Tennessee, having lost to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens, I just can't. I'll have to find something else to do with my time because I can't live in that world. And we need to push back against this narrative that oh well, it's Bama's going to get it. Bama lost to Tennessee and Vanderbilt. They lost to Vanderbilt, who had a strong start to the season. They just got killed by South Carolina. They're going to get killed by Tennessee. This is nonsense. And so now we're going into this Georgia game, and people are like, well, Tennessee has to win it, go 11-1. Texas hadn't beaten anybody. Georgia has, they beat Clemson, who's mid. They beat Texas on the road, which is a quality win. But a lot of these teams haven't done shit either. And if Bama gets in and we don't, I'm going to have a mental breakdown.
So are we Are we? And this is what it sounds like to me, Big T. Are we preemptively? Are you prepping us for a Tennessee loss this weekend?
No, but I think we need to get. Listen, all this can be solved if we go win the football game.
100%.
But we have to fight back against this narrative in the lamestream media that Tennessee's fifth in the pecking order out of these teams. Ole Miss sucked all season. They lost to Kentucky. They lost to, who was their other loss? It wasn't a good team. I forget who their other loss was. But then until they beat Georgia, now they beat Georgia at home, and everybody's like, oh, well, Ole Miss is in. It's nonsense. We live in crazy town. Notre Dame's going to get in. They lost to Northern Illinois. I can't have it. If we don't get in, I'm going to lose my mind.
Ole Miss lost to.
They lost to Kentucky.
They haven't really played. They lost to Penn State.
That's incorrect. You're looking at something.
Oh, that's last year. That's last year.
I don't think they played them last year either. Oh, in the Peach Bowl. In the Peach Bowl. Yeah.
I just they have it all.
Yeah. They lost to Kentucky, and who was their other loss?
Looks like LSU.
Correct. And they barely lost to LSU on the road. So that's an okay loss. But it's just things are setting up for us to finish 13th in the first year of the 12-team playoff, and it's gonna break me mentally.
They kind of handled Georgia, bro.
Yeah, no, they played well. They're a good team.
Georgia.
I think I would love to play Ole Miss. I actually think that'd be a really good game, Tennessee Ole Miss. But now, again, we could just go out there and beat Georgia, which would be preferable, and then none of this matters. But
I agree.
And also doable.
Yeah.
They're wounded. They're coming in limping.
We're a very similar team to Ole Miss. Very good defensive fronts. I don't know what the offense is going to look like with Nico coming off an injury, but yeah, we need to fight back against this narrative that's out there in the MSM. And so I wanted to use this platform to do that for a moment. I think it's important.
I think you made your case. I don't know. I'm always, I'm definitely biased towards the SEC. Not just because I played in it, but just like if you look at the stats over the years, it's just the better team. The better conference. So we should always have priority when going against other conferences to pick who gets in.
The other thing is the Big Ten's going to get it. Penn State's going to get in having beaten nobody. Indiana's going to get in having beaten nobody. BYU is going to get in because they're going to go undefeated, but they aren't very good. Like it's a whole thing. But whatever. We'll see what happens.
Well, chips fall, destiny's in your own hands. That's what they say.
Yeah.
It's doable. I'm gonna be locked. I'm gonna watch that game this weekend, man. Well, maybe
big game.
My daughter's birthday on Friday, so we might have to do the party on Saturday. We're still.
It's at night.
Oh, the game. Oh, well, yeah. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll knock it out then. Well, love to hear that. I did watch a little bit of football this weekend, but not too much. I caught some of the Oregon game. I had no idea they were number one.
They're wagging.
Yeah. So who you give me a top 4 rankings right now? Like who's like locked in?
I mean, right now it's Oregon, and then it's a pretty steep drop off after that. Like, I guess Ohio State and Texas you'd put after them, but neither of those teams. Ohio State does have the win at Penn State, and then 4, like, right now it's probably between Tennessee and Indiana for number 4. Like it's a weird year right now until we pick up that second loss. Like I'd have Tennessee up there right now.
Right.
So the AP poll this week is Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana, Tennessee.
So right now Tennessee sits at the top SEC.
Second, Texas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, man.
Indiana in the top 5 is still jarring to look at, but
what is hold on, let me see the whole ranking.
They hired James Madison's coach from last year, PFT school, and he brought half the team with him because they were like the best team in the group of 5 last year, one of them. And now they're 10-0 for the first time ever.
Damn.
And they're probably going to go 11-1 and make the playoff with 0 quality wins.
I mean, nah, they've had some quality wins. I mean, the team they've won against some big programs.
Right. I mean, Michigan this year is not good. They barely beat Michigan. Who's their other best win?
Michigan, they beat Washington.
Washington sucks.
They mopped Nebraska.
Nebraska is not good.
But like they beat that. Those are some good programs. So if you're an Indiana program, that is like a good building.
Yes,
block.
for Indiana, it's incredible, and they're a good team.
UCLA, another.
The UCLA's horrific.
Sure. But I'm talking about aesthetics. I mean, you can only play who on your squad. They play Ohio State, so that's the real test.
Yes.
That's gonna be fun. I haven't watched them a lick. So you've actually watched them. You don't think that they?
No, they're a good team. I like when you get into comparing resumes. Their resume's not going to be that strong, but they have very good players. Their quarterback should probably be in the Heisman conversation at least.
Where's the race at right now? Because I know Travis Hunter.
I think Travis Hunter's going to win it.
Yeah, how good of a receiver is he really?
He's good.
I hate to nitpick, you know what I mean? But he's probably I'll concede this. I think he's probably the best two-way player that we've seen in college football.
Through 9 games, he has 69 receptions, for 856 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have 11 or 1,200 yards, 11 or 12 touchdowns, and and he's not as good of a receiver as he is a DB.
Yeah, that was probably my main point. It's like I think that's where he goes in the league. He's gonna play DB.
Yeah.
But is he the best two-way player we've ever seen?
Yeah, because I mean Woodson
didn't
even play receiver, and they pretended he did.
But he had return skills.
No,
amazing.
Did Desmond Howard play defense?
I don't think he did. No.
I guess I'm just thinking of Woodson.
He was a return. He was a return specialist and a receiver. I'm trying to think. There was a cat, Corey Gamble, back in the day, Ohio State. Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be top 5. He'll be the first DB taken, I think.
You got Shador going first round?
I think he's going to. This quarterback class is weird. I don't really know what's going to happen, but yeah, I think he will be a first round pick for sure.
I'm interested to see what he's doing in the league, man. I'm not really sold on him, but hey, man, I hope he becomes the best version of himself.
Are you interested in having hair that grows faster, stronger, and longer, having visibly thicker volume, experiencing noticeably less shedding, thicker lashes and brows? All of this is possible with Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. Thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. With a Nutrafol subscription, building a hair growth routine is simple. Purchase online, no prescription required, automated deliveries, and free shipping keep you on track. Plus, you can save up to 20%. You'll have access to free naturopathic doctor consults, and a Headspace membership is included. Get results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code DOSE, D-O-S-E. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, Nutrafol.com, promo code DOSE. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code DOSE.
NFL. Moving on to the NFL. What game did I watch? I watched a little bit of the Cowboys, Eagles, and who played before that?
Bunch.
I don't remember who I watched though.
Most of the league played right before that.
Name your team.
I was trying to figure out who, regionally games show up. I'm not gonna buy NFL Game Pass. Although I think I could get that for free if I
surely
ask somebody.
Like as a NFL alum.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they offer that something. Maybe they don't though. I don't know.
Well, do you pay your NFLPA dues?
No. I never did actually.
I wonder if it's part of that.
Nah.
Wait, so were you in it anyway?
Yeah.
So
Maybe I told this story before, but um, it was during the lockout, and they were asking guys to give $60,000 and put it in a pot for so everybody on every team put it in a pot like 60 grand. I don't remember what the total came to, and I just didn't something didn't feel right about that to me, and I was just asking the dude on the side, yada yada. And then he goes, and I asked him, I was like, all right, what happens if I don't pay my dues? Like, what happens? And he goes, well, then you're just gonna have to live with the fact that you get the benefits everybody does, but you don't pay. I said, all right.
yeah, that's kind of an outrageous number.
Yeah, it was
60
wild.
grand times
The thinking was this.
56.
The thinking was this was cats. Yeah, do the math, and I'll tell you what
Holy.
they were thinking.
So, okay, I did 50. If it's a 53-man roster
Yeah,
times 32
53, not 56, yeah.
times 60,000, it's, oh God, wait, hold on.
it was a lot.
It's $101,760,000.
Yeah, so I was like skeptical about the whole thing. I was like, well, where's this money going? Like, what are you putting it into? It's not going to a bank, right? So I was just like, oh, I was very curious about it. And so I just and plus on top of that, what really threw me off was that the last year they used to have something in the NFL called player performance. Maybe they still do. But so player performance was basically kind of a system to kind of even things out. So if you were drafted lower or undrafted, you get higher uh uh I guess what do they call them? I'm blanking on the word. You get
Incentives?
see what?
Incentives?
No, you get rewarded. There's a fancier word for it, but you get rewarded based on play. And
That's
so,
definitely incentive.
could be. I don't
I
know
don't know if
because
that's what it's called, but that's what the word means.
yeah, because it's not built into your contract. It's with the I don't know. But anyway, yeah, let's go with incentive. So, so like I was an undrafted dude, and so in my first year, I played well. I had like I don't know 400 yards, something like that. Played well. Had some like 4 or 5 touchdowns. I played well. I ended up getting like a check for like 60 or 70 grand. Because I was a player performer because I was undrafted. So if you depending on how you perform, then you get a little extra bonus. The next year was the lockout year, and so or was the renegotiation for the CBA collective bargaining agreement, and for some reason they negotiated player performance out of the last year of the deal, and that year I ended up leading the league in rushing yards, touchdowns, and all-purpose yards, and my player performance would have probably cleared a mill easily. And I just was so salty about that I was like, fuck them and their whatever they got going on. I was mad at the NFLPA. That
So
and I don't really think they fight for older players' benefits, but
I don't know what the league minimum was back in then, but right now it's about 800 grand. So obviously that's a lot of money. That's a very good job to have. But
no, I don't think it is for rookies.
no, rookies it says 795.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's hyped. So when I think it was
Sec-
like 600 or 500, something like that.
yeah, second year players it's 870, third year 940. But
Mhm.
so if you were saying it's 600 grand, 10% of your salary to throw into this like what were they doing with that money?
That's what. So they're lawyers, man. So they're basically they fight the NFL ownership on your behalf. So any kind of fine disputes, any kind of programs they try to collectively help players post career, during their career, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the PA. But I'm for unions and unionization because you have to have somebody speaking on your behalf to the higher ups, or else they're taking advantage of you at every cost. And so, especially when you're dealing with that kind of business at that kind of level, um, you have to have some kind of representation. Like I don't have the wherewithal nor the care to mull over legal documents on how to protect ourselves from NFL and the ownership. So they're necessary.
What percentage of the players do you think did that?
I don't know that there was one. It's kind of just like a rite of passage, almost like you pay your NFL dues.
But the dues per year aren't 60 grand, right?
No. That was what they were asking
For like the lockout.
for the lockout, and that was their line of thinking. I didn't even finish my thought, but the line of thinking was to protect dudes that didn't or couldn't sustain like a year without pay, right? So like it would have been referring like to cats like me who was on minimum salary. I had just got pulled up from like P Squad the year before. But like cats like who I play with, Mario Williams, Andre Johnson, those kind of guys who got 10, 20 in the bank, they ain't gonna feel nothing. And so it was to protect guys to not cross the line in the event of a strike.
Okay, so they were giving that money to players.
That's what it was for, yes. But they ended up striking a deal before training camp anyway.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, but it just seemed like an enormous amount of money.
It is.
100%. But they got it all done, and the reason why I don't really rock on them right now is because like they're not banging for healthcare for the older cats, right? So like I got lucky. I'm very privileged in the fact that one, I walked away with a relatively clean bill of health, but a lot of cats didn't, and a lot of cats didn't make millions like I did, and they still sustained those injuries that they helped build the brand of the NFL. I feel like the NFL should take care of them, all their medical issues that they sustained while they were in the NFL, and anything that happens, fall apart because of it. So, but they don't really. I don't know. Healthcare in this country is always a fight for some reason, and I feel like that should be number one on the block. What we fighting for? But that is just an opinion of one man. We'll see what happens. I want to get to your list, my guy.
Yeah, I have a question for you because I saw this story and it made me feel very vindicated. What do you keep your house on, temperature wise, different parts of the year? What are you looking at?
I live in Houston, so it's pretty cut and dry. I'm gonna see what I got it on right now. Yeah, I keep it on at about around 68. Right now it's at 70. I keep
So
it around there.
68, perfectly reasonable. I
Yeah.
can't have it start with a 7. I can't do it.
I don't knock that.
I don't care if it's now in the summer I'll go down to 62, 63, but if
I'm
it's
with you.
but even if it's say it's 10 degrees outside, once I get home, once I've been in the house for 15 minutes, you don't know what the temperature is outside. It could be like I've never understood. So my house, I keep it on 66, 67 in the winter.
Yep.
Like once I've been in the house for 15 minutes, it's the house. I don't care what it is outside.
That I guess that depends on like I've never lived in a like super cold climate except for when it was in Tennessee. And I don't remember what I did with the thermostat back then. That was years ago. But like I've always been in Houston, so anytime it has been cold, I like being cold, and so I kind of just welcome it. And so I've never had to like run the heater like that. But I like it cold. Like my fan and the AC be on, and I sleep with a big ass quilt. So I'm with you.
I said that because, and now these are normally not the people either group that I would want to be aligning with, but there was a survey of 2,000 people in England that said the ideal temperature for your home is 67 degrees in the winter. Now, winter in England is not, I mean, I don't think it gets crazy there. And they also, they don't even like have air conditioning, right?
Yeah, because it's a cooler up there.
So explain how do they have, maybe this is a stupid question. Please stop me. How are they setting their thermostats to shit? Like if you put your thermostat on 67, you don't have air conditioning. What is that even doing?
I don't know enough about the
I don't know. Anyway,
building structure of England.
I don't. But then the World Health Organization actually recommends 64, which
what's their reasoning?
I guess save the planet, save energy.
Oh, you don't fuck with that shit, huh?
answer me this. Here's another question I have.
Fuck this planet, bro.
No. How is it saving energy to be running air in the winter instead of heat? It's the same shit.
Yeah, that confuses me too.
Is it because the air is cold and so like you don't have to heat up you have to heat up the house, which takes more energy to heat something that's cold rather than keep something cold that's already cold. Does that make sense?
Okay, that could be part of it.
Is that the dumbest thing I've ever said?
No.
Heating uses more energy to generate heat.
Because you're trying to bring something that's cold up rather than if the air is on, it's already cold.
Yeah, I guess.
Heating your home requires 4 times more energy in the U.S. than cooling your home.
All right, I guess that's the answer.
Yeah.
Listen, you're not going to get any argument from me. I love that thing on 66.
Yeah, I keep my shit cold all the time. I like walking around. I'll walk around with a sweater and be cold. Matter of fact, every time people come over to my house, I have like, you know how people have like throw blankets?
Oh, yeah.
I got like 4 or 5 of them on my couch because I be running the AC and then I got the fan on full blast. I like being cozy. I like being snuggled up. Even if there's no one to snuggle with, snuggle me up.
No free ads. Are you familiar with the brand Barefoot Dreams?
Mm-hmm.
I am not.
Oh, you should get familiar.
Best blanket you will ever find. No free ads.
BARE?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Barefoot Dreams.
Not cheap, but I think you can afford it. But they are incredible
pockets,
blankets.
Dog. Is it what's so this is a throw blanket?
Mm-hmm.
I can have like two or three paisley blankets. Like $120.
Yeah, they're.
I thought they were even more than that, but
150,
yeah, but they're very good blankets.
Cozy. Yeah, I'm all for the cozy, man. I'm gonna try them out. I recently had a young lady at the house, and have you ever been? I don't know. Maybe you can or can't relate to this, fellas out there. Like when you single, like you think you doing your thing with your house until like a woman comes over and she like, hey bro, this feels like a dude's apartment. I was like, what about like they want plants? There's all kinds of decorations. And my shit is kind of bare when she started pointing stuff out. I'm like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. But I thought I was more decorative and had a little bit more style than I do with the home decor. But yeah, my soul was kind of crushed. She was kind of like clowning on myself. I don't know what to do with, decoration. I'm kind of lost in that department.
What were the problems with your house?
It's just I don't know. Like, so I was like, all right, what do we think about this? And like, I like shit like if you go into my living room, I got lights that can change colors, like shit like this. I got a bunch of this shit everywhere. I got a bunch of LED lights that can change colors. I like that kind of shit. It makes it feel, I don't know, warm to me. And she's just like, that's just like a dude. Like you're just a dude. And I'm like, I guess, man. But she started like kind of saying what she would do, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Plants hanging, pictures of weird shit everywhere. That kind of vibe. I don't have an eye for that. I don't have an eye for that.
The lights thing does sound very college-y.
I don't know how to. It feels good.
No, yeah, I'm not. Do your thing.
So you know what I really like. So like when I'm sitting and I'm watching a movie, Avatar, right? One of my favorite movies of all time. I cut all the lights off and I put a little tint of blue. And when
I like that.
when the LED matches the vibe of the movie, come on.
You know what you need? I don't know if you have this or not.
What's that?
Do you have the lights on the back of the TV that change with what you're watching?
Oh, I hate that.
That sounds like what you're describing, though.
No, it's on the roof.
No, I know, but I'm saying like you're saying make it blue to watch Avatar. Why not have the TV be like have the lights that do what's on the TV?
Oh, I hate that with a passion. It's so distracting. I've seen it before. It's so distracting. It takes away from. I hate it. I know what you're talking about.
Interesting. From what you were describing, that seems like something you'd love.
You would think I would. And I would think I would, but it's so distracting. No. I just like I don't know, don't know what it's called, just the neon vibe.
And you have
And
that in
all-
your living room?
Yeah, it's dope. I mean,
That's
it's not
awesome.
when you turn on the lights. That's not what happens.
Right.
There's a separate switch to turn on, and you could turn those regular color if you want. I have regular lights, but it's like the roof. I guess to explain it, like there's a roof, and then there's like a shelf underneath the roof that sticks out, and inside of that little shelf, it lines with lights, and so it's like this nice little. It's beautiful.
I
love
don't
it.
hate that, but I see how some women could.
Yeah, and that's what I don't get. I thought I was killing it, and she's like, "This is like a guy's house." And when you said that, that's the best way to describe it. It's like a dorm room, like kind of vibe. But I don't know. I don't know. This house does need a woman's touch, man. See where it goes.
I had
You
the
know?
LEDs in my New York apartment for a little while. Had some trouble getting them off the wall when I moved out.
Yeah, they be sticking. They be sticking. I don't know, man. I like the LEDs. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get rid of that shit. I got them all over the place. Like, and also you'll see these little these little foam balls. So my daughter got me some foam golf balls. So I got carpet in places, and so like I'll hit golf balls and they'll be all over the house. That's some little kid shit. And she's like, "What are all these balls?" And I just every now and then, like if a game on or so, I'll take like 4 or 5 of them in the living room and I'll just hit balls against the little curtain.
Do you have a putting
Oh.
mat?
Huh?
You have a putting mat?
Yeah, but I don't even use it. I just use the carpet. And slowly it's starting to fuck the carpet up.
Hate
I'm
that.
a child. Yeah, I'm a child, dog. I am a big fucking child. What else? Here, this you gotta explain this to me. Mattel. The
Oh
Wicked
yeah,
dolls.
they fucked up.
Yeah, you have to explain this one to me, man.
So the movie Wicked is coming out,
Mhm.
and Mattel, I guess, made dolls from the movie and put a website on the packaging of the toys that was supposed to go to the Wicked movie website. But I guess there is a pornographic website with a very similar name that Mattel instead directed the kids to go to.
Do we know the website?
I guess it's Wicked.
Oh, let's see.
But yeah, so they had to issue an apology for doing that.
Wicked porn site. I want to see what kind of site it is.
The web address listed on the box dolls is wicked.com instead of wickedmovie.com. When clicking on the first link, a page comes up requiring users to be 18 and older. Those who click enter land on a porn site promoting an upcoming movie titled Kinsey Loves Girls 2. That's from a venture called Wicked Pictures. The wicked.com domain name has been registered to its owner since 1994.
God damn.
Yeah, so Mattel fucked up.
I remember when I was a kid, we used to do like, this is way before y'all's time, but they used to be like calls, like hotlines, like 1-800-boobs or some shit like that, right? And we used to call them and just like prank them. We used to do that. Magazines, we used to find them shits everywhere, or at least in my neighborhood. Yeah, probably not the best thing for Mattel to do, but I mean, it's forgivable. Is that forgivable? Not forgivable, Big T.
Yeah, I mean, it was an honest mistake. I didn't know. Are people still buying dolls like that?
I believe children, yeah.
Yeah, but like every kid, I feel like is just on an iPad now.
Nah, my baby still love
They still have toys though.
Yeah.
toys. Granted, they don't play with them for very long, but I think that's always been the case.
Yeah, I still think like dolls are a big stepping stone in being a young girl.
For sure. I just didn't know that like movie releases still got, a doll rollout.
I think something as big as Wicked, like Wicked is spending a gajillion dollars on promotional, like marketing, like everything.
You'd think somebody could have given Mattel the correct website.
You'd think.
Particularly if you know that that's going to be an issue. But
Ain't Toys R Us out of business?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but are they? I want to say there's a comeback coming.
There's
They're in a department store, aren't they?
no.
They just
I
went
think
out of
they are.
business a long
No,
time
I think
ago.
they're in a department store. Y'all could be
Oh,
wrong.
they're in a department store?
Yeah.
Oh, could be.
I thought you said
don't
they
know.
are a department store. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no.
Yep. No,
I
a
think I heard
partnership with
that.
Macy's.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're like reopening them
See,
inside the
I know,
Macy's.
yeah.
Oh, fuck. We got to go to that.
Toys R Us to open standalone store at Norridge Mall in Chicago.
When is it open?
October 22nd, 2024. This was written. Let me see.
I mean, if the Toys R Us in Chicago's open. Toys R Us used to be so fucking awesome.
Yeah. Though Toys R Us operates at several Macy's stores across the Chicago area, the beloved toy store will open its first standalone store in the region this weekend at Harlem Irving Plaza in suburban Norridge. How far is that from us?
Spell that?
I'm looking at it. 9 miles.
Oh.
25-minute drive.
Yeah, we got to go.
It's right by O'Hare.
I seen this video of this bar that had Nintendo 64. It was playing Mario Kart. Oh, speaking of which, Nintendo 64 is making it. They're coming out with a new one.
Saw that 4K.
Yeah. It's supposed to be 4K. So I'm absolutely gonna get one of those. That's way overpriced, but I'm still gonna grab it.
Can
Golden eye
I
on that shit?
can I say though,
Shoot.
I don't know that I want the N64 to be in 4K. I've got a PS5 if I want shit like that. Like if you're playing N64, I want it to have an N64 vibe.
I don't know that I agree with that, no. Because when we was growing up, it did feel like 4K. That was our 4K, right? And now when you comparatively, there's a couple games I've doubled back on that I still love that feel, that 8-bit feel. Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I don't know if you ever played that one. The
Right.
original one.
That's a game that if it was in 4K wouldn't be fun.
I disagree. If they tighten little Mac up and make him, maybe I see his veins while he punching, I'm with that shit.
But like the whole vibe is the 80s like feel.
I get what you're saying. I just don't necessarily agree. I think it can be enhanced and you can still have the same feel. Like, cause to me it's the sounds. Like I can hear the little Punch Out sound right now. The Mario in 4K would be fire. You don't think so?
I'm sure it'll be great. I'm just saying, like, we have video games that are like that now that I could go play. If I'm playing Mario Kart, I want it to feel like Mario Kart. Maybe it'll be great. I'm sure it'll be awesome.
I don't know. I feel like the enhancement of the quality will just enhance the game.
Maybe. What are they charging for that?
I think it's 260 or something.
250.
Like that.
Yeah.
There you go, 250. Yeah. I'm gonna grab one. I'm gonna grab one for sure. But anyway, I was saying that to say I seen a video of this bar that was playing N64 that was playing Mario Kart, and there was a live jazz band playing the soundtrack to the game. You know, and like when you get a start, it was amazing, and it's got me thinking. I think while my generation's parents, so boomers, were so miserable is because, and it goes back generations because they don't have like, their generation was like no fun. Like once you're an adult, like there's no more fun. Like you have responsibilities to take care of shit. But I feel like our generation is like breaking the mold of like adults saying, yeah, but I still want to be a kid. And there's fun places to do shit like that. Cause I couldn't imagine being, late 30s back in the 80s and just being like bored of life. Could be alone there, but I just feel like millennials are breaking that mold, or am I just getting old in general?
No, that's true. I mean, like everybody my age that I know like plays video games and stuff, and I don't anticipate ever quitting playing video games for a while anyway.
Yeah, I don't see a world in which I stop. Like it's a part of like some, because I play a lot of online games too and some newer games, and the amount of shit I get talked to by these little fuckers about, well, you so old, you playing a game. I'm like, what do you want me to do, bro? What am I supposed to do? Like I grew up playing games. It's like, yo, you grew up playing games. What do you want me to do? Like, go take care of your kids. I'm like, they chilling. they play this game with me. And so it's like, I don't know. There's a bit of a stigma with these young punks. But
I remember doing that as a kid though.
Yeah, get your old ass off the game.
Yeah, you'd get in a lobby with somebody and they were an adult and you would make fun of them.
Yeah. But then I'd be busting their ass too. So
Pause.
it's like, yeah, that was bad. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it helps keep you young and alert. And there are some studies out there that show that video games can keep you mentally sharp as well as you start to age. Uh, and I see that because I have two different sets of parents. My mother is very active and knows tech, and she's vibrant. She's young. She's a thing. My dad, I can see him he's starting to come around because he got a TikTok, but he's just not. He's never really been into video games or anything like that. And there's a difference. There's definitely a difference, and I think it has a lot to do with how you see yourself as well. So, hope that we keep pushing for that, man.
I forget where I heard this. It was very recently. It may have been on Rogan. But somebody was saying that there was a study, and it looks like in a 2004 study, surgeons who played video games for at least 3 hours a week made 37% fewer mistakes and were 27% faster than those who did not.
Yeah, I've seen a few studies that link, cognitive function at a higher rate with playing video games. I don't know that it's the cause of it, but I think so. There's a dope ass account I follow on Instagram, and it's somebody who is in a old people home. I don't know if there's a correct terminology for that, but they ask them all kinds of questions like, what's your favorite memory, or how do you want to be remembered, or yada yada yada. And one of the questions they ask is like, how do you stay young? And they're always like saying, like, challenge yourself, be active, do things that challenge your brain. Their generation was like crossword puzzles, so I'd be like crossword puzzles, stuff like that. And I think this is, the evolution of crossword puzzles is keeping your brain active somehow, some way.
My great grandma was addicted to crossword puzzles. Would just sit there and do them all day. And then when I'd be at her house, she would yell out whenever there was a sports win. She'd be like, "Who was a pitcher for the Pirates in the early 2000s that's 7 letters?" I'd be like, AJ Burnett. She'd be like, "Thanks, that fits."
that's dope. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I did a crossword puzzle, man.
I used to, I did them for a little while. I had the New York Times crossword app.
Yeah, I think that's a disconnect. They grew up on newspapers. We didn't really grow up on newspapers like that, and that's where they were. And the funnies. What else you got on your list, dogs?
Not a bunch. There was we had a couple field storming incidents this week. Georgia
Tech happening more than
it seems to be happening a lot more recently. Yeah,
happening a lot, dog.
So Georgia Tech beat Miami, and there was a Georgia Tech fan that walked up to a Miami player and he was filming. He was like, "Look at this guy, he lost." And the player grabs the phone out of the guy's hand and throws it like 50 yards.
I'm okay with this. I'm extra okay with this. I get tired of people putting phones in people's faces. Like, run up, get done up.
I agree for the most part. If you watch the video, it does seem like the player was just kind of standing there and was like, looked like he was kind of looking for, like, he's facing, all the other players are walking toward the locker room and he's facing the opposite direction. It was like, you could have just kept walking to the locker room. The guy wasn't like going up to him, provoking him.
A little bit. So he turns the camera and like
yeah.
So he's in view.
Right.
Yeah,
but he chucked that bitch.
Yeah, he did. the film was funny. You just see the sky
spinning. Yeah.
And then people like picked it up at the end of it, right?
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, it's recording."
It's a fire video, just in general.
The other one was kind of the opposite issue. There was a Georgia player who they got killed by Ole Miss. Ole Miss rushes the field, and there's a video of a Georgia player jumping up and down, celebrating with Ole Miss fans. And it turns out they were a family of a kid who plays at Ole Miss that was that guy's teammate in high school. So I guess
okay.
So I guess he hadn't seen him in a long time or whatever. You gotta be aware though. You can't do that on the field.
I mean, okay, so if I'm looking at him, he's number 22. He doesn't look that muscularly defined.
He's a white DB.
Yeah, so does he play?
I think he's a freshman.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like he plays. I could be wrong with that assertion, but it don't really look like he played like that. And so I could give that a pass because when you don't play, like I remember either redshirting or being, injured for a game or you sitting out because of you can't play whatever. It's hard to get emotionally invested in a win or a loss if you're not a part of the action. You know what I mean? You don't feel like you contributed. Um, and so I mean, you can be happy for your dudes, and you can be happy that they won or we won, but you just don't feel a part of it. It's very, I don't know, it's secluding. And so like this is excusable to me. Seeing one of the homies you ain't seen since high school, I'm all right with that.
To be fair,
Yeah.
it wasn't even the player though; it was like his family.
Oh, that's even that's the. I would say it's not even a homie. That's blood. That's all right. It's all right. He got a horrible haircut, but it's all right.
No. It was the other player's family.
Wait. What are you saying? It's
Okay.
not his family?
Correct. It's his friend's family who plays for the other team.
Oh, they could have had a relationship though.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, he's not a freshman. He's a redshirt sophomore, but he did transfer. It's his first year at Georgia. He transferred there from Alabama. He was a 4-star recruit,
But
doesn't play. I don't think.
Yeah, it doesn't look like getting any burn. That would be that would be a weird move if like you just poured your heart out on the field. You could like dap him up, say, man, but to me, it don't look like his jersey look clean. Don't look like he sweat much. Drunk a lot of Gatorade. Probably not taped up. Here's what it is.
You got to still get taped, even if you don't think you're going in.
I know guys that didn't. Some dudes know they're not getting in.
Right, but if there's a reasonable chance,
the shit that used to bother me the most is when dudes knew they weren't gonna play, but they always try to put their name first in the guy because there's like 4 or 5 trainers that tape ankles, right? And so there's usually a line. So you usually put your name on a list. God, this will bring me back, but there's usually a line. So you put your name on a list of the dude that you feel comfortable with, right? Because there's a certain way, like, and some people just do it better, according to your preference. And there'd be dudes that you ain't getting in the game, but you always the first on the list to get your ankles taped. You're like, bro, sit back, like get your ankles taped last. That shit used to bother the shit out of me.
Was that college or NFL?
Both. When you get to the league, though, it's a little less congested. And like I remember the first time I was on an NFL field during a game because preseason is packed because you have, I think you start with like, I don't know, 90 guys or some shit like that. And then it whittles down, you make cuts. It's like 7 and you make more cuts. And then the first NFL game, you looking on the sidelines like, there's nobody on the sideline. This is weird. It was very weird. Cause like you come from college, 102 dudes suit up. And it's like the sidelines always packing, hard to get around. But like in NFL sidelines, there's nobody on this. It's wild. It's like, and only 45 guys dressed, something like that. It's that is a very different experience if you're not used to it.
The holidays are almost here, and Steven Singer Jewelers has the #1 gift. Everyone knows it's diamond stud earrings, and Steven has the most beautiful, best value, real, natural diamond studs anywhere. Choose a great pair of Anita diamond stud earrings starting at just $298. Steven makes it so easy to buy real diamond jewelry for someone you love. No phony sales, no haggling, no nonsense, just easy and fun. Steven's real diamond studs are flawless to the eye, near colorless, and come with his unbeatable full value lifetime trade-in. You can trade up your diamond studs anytime and receive exactly what you paid towards a larger pair. Steven also has the best guarantee in the business, a full 100-day, 100% no-hassle money-back guarantee. Fast and free shipping. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com and click on his Anita Diamond Stud Earrings or visit Steven's showroom at the other corner of 8th and Walnut in Philly. Buy real diamonds from a real jeweler you can trust. Steven Singer Jewelers. That's IHateStevenSinger.com.
I used to hate those kind of cats. I saw this story that you may or may not be interested in. You don't seem ever really interested in anything that happens in space.
I'm not disinterested in space.
You're just indifferent about space?
It's not one of my top interests, but if something interesting happens, I'm piqued.
All right, so NASA's Curiosity rover looks like it may have found some evidence of life on Mars. And it's not like no microbes or anything like that, but remnants of, they've always thought that it had like patterns of running water. But here they have found like hexagonal patterns um, that seem to indicate that there was some kind of like microbes. And then there's some rocks formation that kind of um, mirrors what they would view as some kind of life used to habitate there. Small life, but still, it's I think amongst all of the noise that goes on Earth, I still am fascinated by the fact that we have a a rover on another planet that sends us back data about the whereabouts. Like you can see pictures of Earth from Mars, and that shit just always blows my mind. And it always reminds me of Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot. Have you ever read or seen that?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't seen it, no.
One of the more beautiful things written, but it just is very humbling, is probably the best term. But he just basically describes like all the wars ever fought, everybody you've ever known, everybody you ever loved. And while he's kind of displaying this beautiful language and describing, everything that's happened on Earth, it is, video of the Earth getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it looks like a small little pale blue dot, is what he calls it. And yeah, but seeing stuff like this kind of just reminds me that one, I'm kind of, this my brain always goes here. But one is like all the shit that we all fight, like, we all gonna die. None of us gonna make it out this bitch alive. And it just reminds me of, to be humble throughout it all, because we all gonna end up paying that ultimate tax. And stuff like this to me is really amazing, and I love, hearing about it, reading up on it. I'm hopeful that we can find something out there to make us stop arguing about all the shit on the ground. Hopeful, not it's not very practical, but
The air's killing us.
the air.
Everyone that's ever breathed air eventually dies after 70 or 80 years. I mean, it could be.
No, I make that. I don't think that's the reason why we're all dying, but we're a finite species on a finite. Why I do be why aren't you more interested in space? This is not a knock by any means. I'm just very curious, like what gets you going? Do you have any existential thoughts that run across your brain that just keep you up at night? That you just, I don't know. Like I pour over.
I don't know that they keep me up at night. I certainly, like space is just, it's never been my bag. But I mean, yeah, like questions about the Earth and the universe, sure. They don't keep me up at night. I sleep like a baby, but slept through an earthquake one time.
Like what's the most interesting, like if you could have, okay, you get to, the Lord comes down and you just walking along and there's a bush. It's not burning though. And he's like, hey, what up, Big T? And you're like, damn, there's a bush. You'd be like, yep, I'm God. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna grant you one question to have answered. What is the question that you would ask?
I mean, my question would be a much more it would be a much more religious one.
Sure. Yeah. What would it be?
I mean, it would be why. What was so? I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it.
He says, take your time, Big T.
Why save humanity? Like, what was so?
Oh, like you're talking to Jesus.
Yes.
Got you.
They're 3 in 1, it's the whole thing. But yeah, like why? Yeah, I don't even know how to phrase my question, really. That's a very deep question, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I want to know, Big T. I want to know what's underneath the hood.
Yeah, I mean, that's so. Give me till Wednesday and I will have a better answer for you. But that like off the top of my head, that's like why. I guess the answer is kind of inherent in that, if God created people, then he would want them to have the opportunity to be saved. But yeah.
So are you operating from the premise that you don't think that humanity should be saved? Or
No.
you're just
I'm just
inquiring
like
into-
it's I mean, Jesus, if I was Jesus, I am not. Like
appreciate you making that distinction.
well,
for
I
that.
mean, it's an awkward hypothetical position to put yourself in.
Nah, it's okay to ponder these
I
philosophical
mean, I would
questions without being a heretic.
I don't know that I would have taken the bullets that he did. He should not have done that.
You don't think so?
Well, I'm very thankful he did.
I think you would though.
Well, if I was Jesus, yes. But if I'm me, I sure wouldn't.
Really?
The way he was treated?
So if a proposition is thrusted upon you that says, Big T, we're gonna beat your ass and then murder you, but humanity will be saved, you wouldn't do that?
I'm just saying in the vacuum of yes, knowing what was gonna happen, sure. But in the vacuum of, the way he was treated by all those people, what happened to him,
right?
Pretty remarkable thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Cuz for doing that if he did it. So go ahead.
Well, we know that happened. There is virtually no dispute that happened.
There is dispute that happened.
Not really.
No, like there absolutely is.
I'm sure there are some people.
No. I don't even think. I think that there is dispute of his. Wait, hold on. Are you just? I'm not saying. I'm not disputing that he existed. I think that there was a dude that existed around that time that has some of the characteristics that is described as in the Bible. That I think we can be pretty sure about. But as far as like all the stories about him, that's not very well documented.
I was talking specifically about him dying on the cross. I think we have pretty good record, and most scholars, almost all of them, agree that happened. Now, rising from the dead, different story.
I'd have to look at it. It's been a while since I looked at it, but all right, I grant you that. Go ahead.
That's all I was saying.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too sure if there's any evidence outside of the Bible, but neither here nor there.
Scholars nearly universally accept the historicity of Jesus' crucifixion, although there's no consensus on the details.
I guess I'll just see like when they say it has happened. What is the evidence that they're using? Because a lot of the evidence
I'm sure there are things that the Romans said and wrote that corroborate that.
Okay. Yeah, it could have happened. I don't really know. I'm glad you I would like to have you talk about more things like that. Cuz I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to be curious about that kind of stuff. Like, here's a deeper question you may not want to answer. Do you ever question your faith?
Yes.
Oh, really?
I've said before, I find God creating the universe out of nothingness and it exploding out of nothingness virtually equally implausible.
Right. Well, how does that question your faith then? That should reaffirm it, no?
What do you mean?
Like, how does the universe coming out of nothing being implausible make you question your faith? That should, if you consider that as evidence to a creator.
Well, so I do. I think if you're looking at that specifically and you say, okay, well, one side says we don't know, it kind of happened at one point and the whole thing exploded from a thing the size of a period at the end of a sentence on a page, and now it's the universe. And the other side says, well, God created it, and God is omnipresent omnipotent, omnipresent, all those things, and he created the universe, we don't know where God comes from. Well, you're just going to get to a point of whichever one you're saying we don't know at the base. And
like,
so one
infinite regression.
Sure. And one is, well.
So what's the
one gets to the point of, well, God just exists, and the other is, we don't know how this came to be. We haven't figured it out yet. Well, one reaches a slightly more logical conclusion.
Yeah, I guess. Wait, which one would be the logical?
Like conclusion? It is necessary if you are a believer in a divine creator that he has to just exist.
He exists outside of the framework of time that we experience. Right. Yeah.
So if you take that, then that obviously is. I don't know how to frame well this what I'm saying, but
no, it's infinite regress. Like, so there has, like, every move, or is it every cause has a fuck, what do they call it? I forget. There's an actual argument for this. It's been years since I've looked at this, but so there's a notion of, like, the first, what is it? I forgot. God damn it, I'm blanking. But that there has to be a starting point, but see, this is where like, to me, I remain unconvinced, because this, like you said, it boils down to like an infinite regression, and it to me it's logically fallacious. I don't want to downplay anybody's belief system, but to me, like, in my brain, it doesn't compute, because there has to be a creator of the creator if things have to be created. Like, what created him?
Right, you have to. I mean, you just have to accept, if you're a believer in God, that God just exists. Like, it's impossible to understand how. Like, I'll tell you a thing that keeps me up at night. The concept of eternity. That I don't. It's impossible for your brain to comprehend that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, you think about spending eternity somewhere, whether it be heaven, hell, if you believe in purgatory, whatever it be.
Right.
The concept of eternity just doesn't make sense. It's your brain can't quantify it. Literally, it's unquantifiable.
Yeah. I was watching this movie called The Infinites with Mark Wahlberg, and, like, the premise is they reincarnate, and, like, there's this certain group of humans that always, like, regenerate into somebody else, and they're, like, they're fighting a cause, and they end up fighting a dude who was a part of the Infinites, who continually reincarnate, but he wants to die. He's like, I'm tired of it, and so he found out some technology to try to kill everybody, and they try to stop that. But like, to your point, that's just that infinite. Just the word infinite is a wild concept. Infinity. Time itself is just such a weird concept. I thought for the longest that it was a man-made concept, until I fell in love with relativity and found out it's an actual tangible thing that is experienced from a relative frame of reference, and that kind of just blew my mind. And there's so much that we don't know about the universe, that's why I'm, like, open-minded. Like, sure, I'm an atheist. I remain unconvinced that there's a God or a creator, but, like, I'm open-minded to it. I'm very open-minded to it. Like, I almost wish there was. Like, I wish I was convinced, because there's a lot of I think reprieve you can get from your mortality. Like knowing I'm gonna pass one day is a scary thing. But I've made my peace with it as best I can. But if I had a thought, I was convinced that after I pass, that I would still exist in some form. That is a very comforting feeling.
Oh, I disagree with you entirely.
Oh, you don't think that's a comforting feeling?
I think if you believe there's heaven and hell, If you think you die and there's nothing, then all right, fine, I'm going to die one day. It is what it is, and then it's nothing like it was before you were born. If you believe there's heaven and hell, and you know you're going somewhere, well, now you've got, 40 whatever years left to make sure that you go to the good one.
But the ticket in to enter is pretty easy, right? You just accept
Sure.
Jesus as your...
Sure. But
So
I mean, there's a, none of us know. Like,
No,
yes.
that's pretty much it. That's like
Well, no, correct. Yes, the ticket to enter is accepting Jesus, and if you do that, you'll get in. But if you believe there's nothing, then you have nothing at stake. Like, yeah, it is what it is. But if you believe there's heaven and hell, then you are living your life in a way that you are trying to get to heaven. Now, yes, on its face, the ticket to heaven should be pretty simple.
Yeah, because I mean,
but then you
could be a baby slaughterer and still get in.
True. But if you are someone who professes to, you should be living your life in a way that will be indicative of the hopeful fact that you are going to heaven.
Yeah, sure, but it's not a it's more of like a suggestion. You know what I mean? It's not a requirement.
Kind of.
Which I argue is, kind of ridiculous. But if I don't know, the standard should be higher if it is.
But
the standard should be higher.
Well, it depends in what sense you say that. If you were...
Yeah, no, I take that back. Actually, I actually don't agree with that.
It depends. Like if you were a terrible person for your entire life,
right,
and then on your deathbed, you genuinely come to Jesus.
Welcome to the club,
and
baby.
You're that, and that's different than saying it and not believing it. Like there is, and there's no way to quantify that.
Yeah.
Other than if you're Jesus.
Yeah, he would be able to read your heart. I guess that's my biggest, or one of my biggest beefs with the whole notion of it is like I have no, and this is why I don't believe in free will, right? To the extent of the choices that I make, because I am in no way control of my brain chemistry. That's out of my control. I'm in no way in control of the environment that I'm placed in. Also out of my control. And so that is the very definition of, or that's the recipe for decision making. You make a decision based on your brain chemistry and in your environment and how you react to it and the stimuli around you. And so if I'm not in control of either one of those things, like I don't see how, like I can't control that. When you tell me something, Big T, I immediately am skeptical. Not because it's you, just because that's how my brain works. I'm like, okay, I need some kind of like evidence to prove to me why this is a true statement. And so if my soul is at stake, right, and I did not place my brain inside my brain, and I did not grow up in the circumstances that I had any choice of. If I'm at the pearly gates and he like, oh, you don't believe, you out of here, and the trap door was open and I go all the way down there, it's very irrational to me to be like, you should have believed. I'm like, but you know the amount of evidence that would require me to believe because you made me, allegedly. Right. So if you know the amount of evidence that I would require to convince me, why not provide me with that evidence?
So before you even said that, I would have said, I think it's impossible to be a Christian and not believe in free will. So if you believe God created everybody, God obviously created the universe, and God doesn't give people free will, well then what's the point of the whole thing?
No, I don't disagree with you. Yeah.
Then it's all predetermined and it's all meaningless, which would completely negate the whole point. So I don't think it's, now if you're an atheist and you can believe whatever you want, but I think it's impossible to hold the belief of believing in God and also not believing in free will.
Yeah, I think that's a true statement from my understanding of the Christian tenets. But I'm merely speaking from my perspective of why I find it unconvincing. Um, it's it's just very confusing as to why you would be so cryptic about something that's so important. Like it's
Define
very easy,
cryptic.
huh?
Define cryptic.
My soul's on the line, right? So
But you said earlier it's pretty straightforward. I mean,
yeah, but okay,
there is
so
a
okay,
lot, there is a ton about the Bible and God that is not straightforward. But if there is one thing that's pretty simple, it's accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior and you will go to heaven.
right. And so what I mean by cryptic is it's 2024, right? Uh, he has allegedly passed 2,000 years ago to save humanity, right? There has been no contact, um, physically, you know, to communicate his will. So in 2,000 years, you have not contacted the things that you created that you allegedly love to instruct them that this is the way. Now I've heard the arguments that, God works in mysterious ways and he touches your heart. Yada, yada. I was like, sure. I understand that argument, but for me, this is why I say cryptic. That's a cryptic way to go about things. It's not tangible. And for somebody who requires a little bit of amount of evidence in order to hold a certain position, then to me that's kind of irrational to shun me from a place that you didn't. It's like you setting me up for failure. And
Well,
if
when you say tangible, what do you mean? Like, we have the Bible. I would argue that's a pretty tangible contact.
yeah, sure, but let's say it's 2,000 years old, right? And there's so much discrepancies within the Bible. There's contradictions within the Bible. There is it's not univocal, right? It's a bunch of books written by a bunch of people that had been put together. So that's, to me, there's so much more ways to. I mean, you talk about somebody who, allegedly made the universe and atoms and quarks and gravity and
So
light.
that's what I'm asking. So tell me what you want.
I wouldn't know. That's what I I wouldn't know. I would think that the creator would know what each individual would require in order to satiate that absence of evidence. And so people are like, well, what evidence would convince you? I don't know. There's no way, because obviously I haven't seen it. So like I don't have a standard of evidence. Like if I don't see this, then I don't believe. It's just like, given the evidence presented, it doesn't, to me, seem very rational that the a God, one, but more specifically, the God of all these Abrahamic religions exists. And now it's not a knock to anybody out that does believe that, or your evidence of standard. That's not. I don't want to get into, because I used to argue with people about that, but I believe people should have their faith, and that has nothing to do with me. I'm just giving you my reasoning as to why I feel like to me it's just a very irrational position to have 2,000 years to contact humanity in a way that would um convince people that you exist. I feel like there's easy ways to, like, because like if you read the early testament, he intervened all the time. He intervened in various ways all the time. But those circumstances, they kind of have ceased to exist. And
I've asked that question before too, when you ask about things that you question. Like, it didn't take a ton of faith for Jesus' disciples to believe in him.
he
They
was
saw,
performing miracles.
yeah, they saw exactly what he was doing. I was like, now granted, on the scale of humanity, that group of guys, pretty infinitesimal group, but I was like, they didn't need to have faith.
Sure. And I think that would lead me towards
I guess
uh
let me correct that. They needed to still have faith, but they saw Jesus doing these things.
right.
So what? And I guess the answer would be you needed that group of people to be able to tell the stories for the billions of people who would exist later. But like, they saw it.
Yeah, and I guess that's the hard part for me is knowing how humanity has um I guess panned out. Like if you ask any lawyer what's the most unreliable thing in the courtroom, it's eyewitness testimony. Like it's not very credible. And so for people to have seen Jesus do things and people who have heard Jesus do things and then write them down in books 60, 100 years later, it's very it's underwhelming. It's very underwhelming. And so like you said, if somebody's out here doing miracles, right? That would spark my interest immediately because we operate in a universe which we are all bound by the laws of physics. You know, what goes up gonna come down at the same rate every single time. It's predictability. That's why I love science because you can predict things. If there's something or someone that can do things outside of the bounds of the natural universe's laws, that is very convincing to me. And hearing about people doing it versus seeing people do it is two very different things. And I would be open, very
Let
open.
me say also, though, in the same vein that I don't think you can believe in God and not believe in free will, because then what would the point be of God creating everything? Would that same principle not apply to God literally coming down and shouting to everyone, "Hey, it's me, God. I'm up here. Whenever y'all are ready, you'll come be with me." So then what's the point of that?
To reassure people who are, it would do nothing but reaffirm it to you if something like that happened. If everybody on Earth had a universally transmitted message in their heads or on the sky or however he wants to do it, right? And everybody heard it, felt it, talked about it, you had the same experience, that would be pretty hard to argue with, right? Um,
For sure, but like I said, then it's just the inverse of not having free will. There's no point in anything.
no, that you still have the free will to follow his lead. Okay, everybody heard it, everybody did it. Now you know I exist. Now you know the rules I set forth for society. Let's see if you follow it. That would be
But if that were the case, would there be a single person out there dumb enough to not do that?
absolutely. Have you met people?
Sure, but I have to imagine that if that happened,
I think the rate would go down for sure. I think wars would probably cease pretty, pretty, pretty soon. Not sure they wouldn't start back up though. Just given humanity's track record,
yeah, I don't know.
and that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying it's irrational for me. I'm not saying I don't judge anybody else's journey.
I would also say, though, I would be willing to bet there are things that have happened in your life that if you were religious, you would say there's no other explanation for that than God trying to tell me something. Now, you don't view it like that because you're not.
Right.
But I would venture to guess that there are things that have happened that if you were a Christian, you would say that was God telling me something.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, that's definitely happened before.
Right. So then so I would say that is kind of an answer to your question.
No, because um be, because we can't. I wouldn't attribute it to something that I can't directly trace the correlation to.
Right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
I'm saying. But
That would be the definition of irrational.
But I'm saying that the things you're asking for
Mhm.
may have happened. You just don't believe it, so you don't. So it, it's a self-fulfilling thing. Now, I understand you're saying literally like come down from the heavens and proclaim.
No. I'm not. I'm saying I was giving an example as to what would maybe be convincing. I don't know because I haven't been presented with it. Well, I guess what I'm saying is the irrationality of it, on its face is because I don't believe it's been presented to me. And you're saying it probably has been presented to you, but since you don't believe it, you wouldn't take it as the evidence. And what I'm saying is if he is all knowing and all capable, then he would be able to present that evidence to where it would be irrefutable to me. Does that make sense? Like
It does.
I couldn't argue with this evidence presented because it is logically sound based on my metrics of what a truth statement would be.
So what is that?
I wouldn't know. I mean, we're talking about a supreme being that has created all of time, all of space, and everything inside of our known universe. It would have to be something only a supreme being could do, not a damn, I ran into somebody and that probability is very low. Or damn, if it wasn't for so-and-so getting hurt, I wouldn't have gotten my opportunity, to provide for my family. Or it would have to be something more convincing than that because probabilistically, serendipitous things happen all the time, just based on numbers. Serendipitous things happen all the time. And the rate in which certain things happen, vary, but that to me is more of, like I said, it's a probability thing more than it is something that would wow me to the point of there's something greater at work here. And I think a lot of what I've learned about the universe via like my love for science, this is just not a friendly place for life. Like 99.9% of all organisms that have ever existed on the earth die. Like there's a lot of like, if we step outside of this atmosphere, we'll die. You know what I mean? And so we have perfectly evolved in this earth for this earth. And it's just not something that I see is created for us. Everything wants to kill us all the time. And so it's just not I don't know. There'd have to be something, but I'm open. The line's open, pay my phone bill every month.
All right.
I'm open. It's good talk, man. I like picking your brain. I hope you enjoyed that as well, man.
Always. Could never not enjoy a conversation with you.
We need to go to a baseball game again soon next year.
Well, it's a bad time to say you want to go to a baseball game. Just ended.
Soon next year.
I said next year.
I know.
Next year.
I know.
I said next year. I found out during the World Series that New York and LA was playing. So
Yeah.
That was wild.
Problem with Chicago is that the games aren't worth going to till the end of May. Like, it's still so cold.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We went to a couple cold games in New York, though. And they were so fun.
Yeah.
Hockey. We could get in on hockey, Arian.
No, that's right. You got to come when Connor McDavid's here.
Oh yeah, that's your guy.
Yeah. Isn't he hurt right now?
I think so, but I think he's coming back like soon. I don't think it's.
Let's set it up. I got to see the legend before he.
I think it's January. We looked it up one time. We'll figure it out.
Let's do it. I'm in.
Arian, hockey's so fun to watch. I have no idea what's going on during those games, but they're very fun.
Yeah, no, we've been. I went with. That's why I found out about Conor McGregor.
McDavid.
Conor McDavid. Conor McGregor, the UFC
The
dude.
fighter.
Correct.
The Irish guy.
Yeah, a lot of Connors in this world, man.
Yeah.
A lot
Big
of
T.
I found that shit out. Like
We've
Also
known each
too
other about
recently.
18 months.
it's like 2 years into knowing you, I found out your name.
That's so funny.
That shit is. I was like, who's Connor? He's like, that's my name.
I'm going to be honest, dog. I didn't know what your real name was.
Comedy. Do we have any voicemails?
Yes, we do.
Let's get a couple popping off, man.
These
Okay.
are from our show or a different show?
Different show.
Oh, so this is the where we intercept the
Yep,
questions.
the
John.
intercepted questions.
Run it.
This is from friend of the program and recurring guest Ryan Russillo's podcast.
Has he been on this show?
Yeah, he was on for Elizabeth Holmes.
That's right.
I'd
That's
love to get him
right.
back on.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, he was on for Elizabeth Holmes a long time ago. But yeah, so the Ryan Russillo podcast does a life advice segment every once in a while. So I found a couple questions. They're a bit more of a story than like the ones I've given you guys in the past couple weeks where it's like, should I have a New York moment and I'm 25 and have my dad's credit card? So, okay. You might need to lock in. Okay, these are two. Also, if you have any suggestions on podcasts you want me to intercept questions from, DM me or Macrodosing because I want to get the podcasts that you guys like. And I don't know every podcast that has questions. Love you. Okay, first question. I'm currently deciding between two jobs that are similar but different work environments. I'm planning to move home after graduation with close proximity to a big city to save money. Both jobs are 30-minute commutes. Job one is the company I interned for this past summer and still do today. I'd be working with a team I know well in this role. I would also be able to maintain a great work-life balance working 40 to 50-hour weeks. This role would also allow me to work with every sector within my industry, making it a very diversified way to grow my knowledge for my future. I would also need to spend close to $2,000 and 100 hours learning a new computer software before starting the role. Job two is joining a bigger company that has better name recognition. It will also pay slightly more. This team is led by bosses who are well known in my industry but can be very intense and demanding. Some may call them assholes, but I can be an asshole myself. That doesn't concern me. The work-life balance of this is not desirable, working 55 to 65 hours a week on average and 80 hours a week on the high end. But if I can make it through this role, doors will open that wouldn't open in job one. Both teams are looking for a 3 to 4 year commitment. Should I just suck it up and grind out the long hours knowing that job two would pay better and lead to potentially better in the future for me? I don't mind working like a dog if it's worth something in the end.
I feel like he just answered his own question.
Yeah, he's talking a lot
Yeah.
about job two. He's like, I can do it. Like, trust me.
Yeah, I think I'm more Republican when it comes to stuff like this. Like I'm not in love with the system that's set up, but I'm all for like sacrifice. So if you sacrifice and you feel like you can reap the benefits and then climb that ladder, then do it. It's probably best to burn the candle early in your life to where you can have some reprieve later on so you can relax because you will burn yourself out. Like people get tired and just say fuck it. So if you can stack in the summer so you can enjoy yourself in the winter, I would advise that.
I also think it depends how much more money it is. But it sounded like he was leaning toward that anyway.
Yeah.
And so I would assume the difference in money was enough that it would make that worthwhile.
Yeah, the mindset is absolutely something you take into account too. It's a good point. Whereas if it's 10 grand more a year, but you sacrificing your quality of life and your happiness, I'm not sure it'd be worth it. But if it's a significant amount which can change the quality of your life, i.e. living conditions, then I would say maybe it would be. But again, a lot of little nuanced things that we're not aware of. But I'm usually for grinding this shit out so you can not have to work for anybody later on in your life.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but it sounded like you worked it out at the end anyway.
Yeah, it sounds like he wants to take that one. He's just like worried about the hours, but
Yeah. So he's just looking for validation.
Yeah. I also feel
Yeah.
like it's one of those things where it's like if you flip the coin, like if you're like, okay, heads is job one, tails is job two, and you flip the coin and it's like in the air, you're like, I don't want it to land on, which option. I feel like it's one of those situations where it's like, you just need the validation from outside. Like, this is okay, right? I also agree with the like, grind it out when you're young because that's when you should be grinding it out. Don't wait until you're like 30 or something.
Whoa.
What?
old ass 30-year-olds.
No, but I'm
30,
just saying,
bro.
like,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, like, 22 versus 30, you're gonna have different priorities in life, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
let's bump up the bar when you talk about old,
sorry,
Maddie.
I didn't say old.
Like, let's not wait till your 30s.
I did not say old. I did not say old. I'm just saying you don't want to. You would rather just grind straight out of the gate than like coast for a while and then have to lock in.
I'm fucking with you. It's all good.
You guys aren't. You guys aren't old.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Okay. This is the last one, and this is a very different situation. Okay. Should I bother arguing sports with non-sports people? I run into this problem a lot where I can immediately tell the person I'm talking to knows nothing about sports while they try to argue something dumb, and I've decided between battling them on their dumb take or just biting my tongue. The prime example is my coworker who is 40-something who barely watches sports but makes the most outrageous sports takes. He triggered me to write this email by saying, quote, Steph Curry is not the greatest shooter of all time. When I hit him with the stats to prove that he is, his response was, quote, what's he shooting? Just threes? If he went inside, he'd get crushed.
Oh,
I kind of gave up at that point because I realized there was no getting through to him. But this is just one of the many hot takes where he has that makes no sense. Do I argue with him on these awful takes or do I just let it slide? Though it lights a fire in me.
I think it depends on your relationship with him. If he's just like a coworker, I probably wouldn't. But if he's like one of the homies, yeah, I would absolutely argue with him.
This is a coworker, this man says.
Yeah, no, then I wouldn't. You know, there's no way I would. You just basically, if somebody says he's not the best shooter of all time because he get crushed if he goes inside. It's not in your wheelhouse. So I wouldn't even touch it. But if it is one of the homies, absolutely. Absolutely. I will argue the shit to the death of one of my homies all the time. That's fun. To me, that builds camaraderie.
I don't know that I've ever gotten in an argument with someone who but I've definitely gotten in conversations with people who want to talk about sports and it becomes very clear quickly that like they don't know about sports and you're like, well, fuck, because now I've got to have this conversation, but I don't know to what degree like I can talk about stuff because you don't really know what's going on. So I certainly wouldn't get in an argument with one of those people. I would only get in a ball argument with people I respect.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. So if you're in an argument with Big T, he tips his hat to you.
Yeah.
For the most part. Yes.
I also see on the other side of that, I think if it's your coworker and you're not like obsessed with your job, good way to waste some time. Just kind of like,
yeah, I mean, it's shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Also, some people like that only say things like that to get a
you riled
rise
up.
out of you. So
Which I hate.
maybe,
It's like a contrarian.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
just don't give him what he wants and just who cares.
Or what if he just wants to be involved in the
That
office
could also
conversation?
be
Yeah.
true.
You know, he's just trying to like what up my fellow kids.
Yeah.
Vibes, you know what I mean? That could be true. Maybe he just wants a homie.
Maybe.
Ask him
But
for a
in that
drink out.
case, he would try to fit in rather than like be annoying.
Yeah.
Right. Seems like not a great way to win friends and influence people.
Yeah.
Do you think that he knows he's like not a ball knower? Like, or do you think he's
not a ball knower?
I think if you're saying things like Steph Curry would get crushed if he tried to go inside, you think you actually know ball,
right?
but you don't.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna peek behind the curtain. Sometimes when the boys talk about sports here and I try to get in, I'll throw something like that inside, like a little tidbit maybe I heard from you guys or like on Twitter or something, just to be like, oh, I kind of know ball. And it's like nothing from my actual knowledge of ball. And then I have to defend that take. And then I'm like, I've gotten caught up now.
So
I had my one line and now you're asking me to go deeper on that. And I
what's the
not want to.
intent? Is you want to be involved? Gotcha.
Sometimes it's like Mackenzie and I are the only girls that sit on our floor at the office.
Right.
Sometimes the boys are talking sports and I'm like, I just kind of want to chit chat with my friends.
Aww.
Let me throw this in here.
Yeah. Okay. A little inclusivity. I
Yeah.
ain't mad at it.
Yeah. Cause like, again,
So why not learn it?
I try, but it's like you guys,
Pick my brain. You have an XL Pro.
I know you
There
I
is
know.
there is something like you can't you have to have grown up and that been the only thing you care about for 15 years to have like the baseline.
Because it's also like where we work, it is all of you guys are so involved in it. I can't be like a casual and have a conversation. I could talk to you all day long about it, Arian. And Arian, I feel like I have asked you questions about it before. But like
not on the side, like maybe on the pod or something like that.
Yeah.
You're like, hey,
should I
yo,
just
I'm
text you
watching
on the
this.
side? Yeah.
Why would you play cover 2 man in this? You know, I don't
Like,
get one of those questions.
Yeah, like see that
I don't even
my
Maybe-
ball
maybe
knowing
start-
my ball knowing isn't even deep enough to be like, why would you play cover 2? Like I wouldn't even know that it's
Well,
cover 2.
maybe start with the basics, right? Like
Right.
we at where we at. I'm a very firm believer in we at where we at. I don't care if it's financially, socially, whatever. Like you can't make progress in what you're trying to do unless you acknowledge where you at. Yeah, right now, Maddie, you're a casual football watcher, and that's nothing wrong with that.
And it's still a big fall for football. Like I'm learning every day.
That's what I'm saying. And so, like, I would like, do you know what coverages are? This is not like a test. This is just an honest conversation.
Not really.
I would start with the basics. Like, what are coverages and why? Well, maybe not why, but like, what are coverages? So, like, let's just have a conversation right now, Maddie.
Okay.
Defense, like, there's a chess game going on, and this is why I think the casual fan likes like fantasy football and stuff like that. But like people who love football, like this is the deeper part that they really appreciate about football is there's a chess game going on more so in football than any other sport.
Yeah.
But it happens in other sports, but in football, it's very in depth, right? Because the playbook is so vast. And so there's a chess match going on between the OC and the DC, right? Offense coordinator, defense coordinator.
Yeah, I got that.
And so you line up in a certain formation and a defense adjusts to that formation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a call. So they'll say, okay, we're on cover 2, which is 2 safeties high. Right? You know what the safeties are, right?
Yeah.
And then they have 2 corners, and then they have that's what we call a zone defense, right?
Okay.
And so the corners are responsible for those flat in that area or that they occupy.
Mm-hmm.
Linebackers, the hook to curl area, and then the deep safeties are the 2 deep halves, right? And they pass stuff off, and it gets a little deeper. But that's like a basic coverage, cover 2, right? And so I'm not saying you have to know all these coverages,
right.
But just starting to understand and ask questions about how the game is being played. What is the zone? What is a man?
You say those, like I know that exists. Like I listen to Part of My Take and I hear them talk about it. Like I know that exists. It's almost like, you know, when you're like, you're kind of so in over your head where you're like, I don't even know what questions to ask. Like it would never occur to me to be like, oh, let me ask Arian about like a man coverage. Like that would never come into my brain of like a question. Like Arian, I had to ask someone fairly recently, like, about your playing, like, and why you were that good. And I just learned, like, so it's almost like
you don't even know what to ask to learn.
Yeah, more. I don't know what I don't know. Like, I am not an expert. I think I know enough to like get by. Like, I know, you know, the positions and you know the rules or whatever. But like the chess aspect of it and the like, oh my God, why would they set him up, you know, here instead of here, like that kind of stuff. I don't even know where to start. I'm learning. I am learning, and I just learned the difference between a tackle and a guard. Right. Kind of like I'm getting into it, but it is a lot to take in. And like Big T said, like all of the guys that work here, like if I worked at like a more traditional office, it wouldn't be as crazy because like everyone here knows sports or played them professionally or whatever. So it is jumping into the deep end to get into a conversation with most people here about sports. Like, I'm not going to go up to, like, Will Compton and be like, yo, like, did you see what the Titans did? Like, I'm never going to do that. But, like, with you, it's more approachable because I know you better. And I can be like, okay, what is this? What did I just
I would argue the casual fan at Barstool isn't watching a chess game like, you know, somebody
Definitely
who knows it in
not.
depth. No. Yeah, and so it's okay. So if I was you, I wouldn't even worry about coverages, right? That was just an example. But if I was you, I would just start by like intently understanding what each position does.
Yeah,
right?
That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm learning.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
And honestly, you don't need to know the difference between a guard and a tackle like that. I mean, okay, you do, you don't. That's not that imperative. That's when you start to get into the weeds of what makes football so fun. I think for you, maybe understand what each position does
Yeah.
at a pretty good level. The running back does this, motions, understanding what players are doing, like, and understanding the rules. You understand the down system, like, is
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
second, third down. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're in a good place. I think you just understanding what positions do defensively, because offensive is easy, right?
Yeah, I was
Fantasy
gonna say
football teams.
offense I've got nailed.
Yeah. So
Offensive line, got it down.
and watch and Google who's the best defense in the NFL, and then watch a game through the lens of trying to just watch the defense and not just watch where the ball's going, right?
Okay.
Because we have a tendency to do that as fans. Just like that's what fans love to see. High scoring
I was
games.
gonna say defense is kind of boring to watch.
Yeah. So like those defensive games that are like 6-3, right? Most football fans don't like those kind of games. They're boring, right?
Yeah.
But for people that like football, there's some good football being played. You watch the guard pull, or you watch the tackle slide down. A guy feels he feels the end really hard, or the linebacker filling the gap really well. Like shit like that is really good football getting played that might not necessarily show up on a stat sheet. And that's what you start to appreciate. And you start to see these guys as athletes that are thinking on a higher level up there. Okay, if this guy does this, I have this. And that's when it starts to become like really like, oh shit, there's a whole nother world of, that's what I used to call like the game within the game.
Yeah.
So there's games within the game that's being played. And like corners and wide receivers do that a lot. Linebackers do that a lot. Linebackers and quarterbacks, because they make the calls for their teams. And so
a linebacker is making the calls on defense?
Yes.
Okay.
He'll make the call. He'll give the
new.
call to the D-line ahead of him, and then he'll give the call. And usually they have signs. They'll sign what coverage we're in, whatever the case may be. But the linebacker is the quarterback of the defense. And when you kind of start watching how they maneuver and the kind of different sets they line up in, and you'll appreciate defense more when you start watching them from that lens.
Okay,
So
I was going to say
that.
Nothing interests me about the defense as much, obviously.
That's natural.
Yeah.
You're going to have Madeline breaking down 4 eyes on Twitter.
I love that.
I don't think she needs to know all this.
Wait, what is 4 eyes?
4 eye is a type of defensive alignment for a lineman.
Like when you guys, like when the whole Tim Walls 4 what was it? What did he say? He like ran.
I just highly doubt he wrote that shit. I'm skeptical.
No. You're talking. Okay, you're talking about the pick 6 thing.
No,
yeah.
No.
I know. I was talking to Arian. You're talking about. He said you're talking. He ran a 4-4 defense, is what you're talking about.
Oh,
yes. Okay. Like that means nothing.
4 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers in your base alignment.
Okay.
Yep. And that's not that. I mean, you got 4-3, 4-4, 3-4, which is basically a 5-2.
3-3.
No, this is getting in. This is getting into a lot.
Just think about this. When you hear defensive fronts, just think there's a certain amount of guys on the first level, right? Which could be 3, 4, 5, or 6. Very rarely it's 6, especially in the NFL. And
teams
then there's
have started
guys
doing more of that, though.
There's guys on the second level, which would be the linebackers.
Is that the secondary?
No, that's the third level.
That's the third level. So you have
secondary is the third, yes.
Oh, see,
linemen,
that's bullshit.
Linebackers, secondary. There's 3 levels. Linemen, linebackers, secondary.
I think you should stop giving away all this for free. This could be a good YouTube series.
Teaching Madeline
I
ball.
would love to know ball.
That would be dope to have like a little film session with you. That'd be dope. I'd do it.
Yeah, I have started to take an interest in football this fall, and it's a lot to take in, especially when I'm learning like high level things and I don't necessarily have like the lower levels to,
I had a Friendsgiving this weekend, right? So it was like a bunch of like 12 of the really good people came together. We all cooked, brought sides, drinks.
What'd you
it was
make?
a really good time. Huh?
What'd you make?
I didn't make anything. I got a homeboy who has a barbecue restaurant. Shout out Kobo's in Houston. He cooked a brisket for me, really marbled brisket, and it was fucking unreal. So that was my contribution. I can cook, but I tend not to when it's big events like that. But anyway, so as all the friends are, I got the game on in the background, right? And I just remember thinking like, I wish I could watch. I'm envious of you. I wish I could watch football like you. I can't watch it like that. I can't fall in love with a team. This is just me personally. I know there's dudes that have played
Because
amount of years, more years than me that can.
Because you know the nuts and bolts of what's going
Well,
on.
no, I feel like it's like the Wizard of Oz because and this is just me personally. I don't speak for former players, but for me, because I've seen behind the curtain, so to speak, the game lost a lot of lust for me. Like it lost a lot of its like fervor to me. I can't love it the same, and I don't know what it is, but it's just it just lost a certain appeal to me. And so when I was growing up, I loved the Raiders. I grew up on Rich Gannon, Napoleon Kaufman, Tim Brown. Like I grew up in that era, and I loved the Raiders, loved them. And once I started playing, and I kind of, especially playing against the Raiders and stuff like that, it's just I no longer love the Raiders like that, right? But I remember the feeling, and that feeling you have, right? That feeling that you have of like getting excited that this is my squad. That feeling that Big T has with the University of Tennessee, like this is my squad, and I'm riding with them, and being able to argue with your dogs, like nah, man, we finna come out, we finna whoop y'all. Like that's what makes sports exciting. I don't have that. I wish that I did, and I remember thinking that today. I mean, sorry, this weekend when football was on in the background, I was like, man, I wish I had that feel because that's what makes sports fun.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like you want a little bit more knowledge so you can up your excitement
so it means
for
more.
the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will pass you all the knowledge that I have.
Arian, let's cook. Let's see what's.
John Gruden is going really viral right now doing film breakdowns. You should give Mad Dog we should do some whiteboard sessions.
Yeah, let's
do
down. That.
We'll do really basic stuff, and then we'll have you talking ball. This is what we gonna do. We're gonna have you talking ball to all your dude friends, and they're gonna be like, "Who the fuck is?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you?" You be like, "Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. You shouldn't have blitzed on that play."
Exactly, because I think you know well. Like I think you know me well. Like I don't know nothing. It's not
you follow.
Yeah, but I would like to know more in a technical manner.
Let's cook on some ideas on how we can do that.
I like that.
You should start playing NCAA. I think I could be a defensive coordinator now that I've been playing NCAA for 3 or 4 months.
You know what? You're not wrong. I'm not talking about the defensive coordinator part. I'm talking about I'm talking about playing
video. Call me Dr. Heat.
because there are, so when you pick plays on defense, for example, on the game, those are real coverages. Those are really real coverages. And so I think if I teach you like some basics, you always want to wait until the team that you're playing against picks a formation, right? And so they pick a formation as 4 wides. Okay, if they get in 4 wides, I can't run, a regular 4-3 or a regular 3-4, right? I have to run something with the nickel because they have 4 wides now. The nickel is an extra man in coverage. Does that make sense? And so like little stuff like that, like once you start learning how to combat what you see versus the offense, that's where the chess game comes in. It's 3rd down, 4th down. Usually those aren't zone. People don't run zone in those usually. The higher percentage play is to run man so that you can bring the pressure so they don't have time, or that you can fill more gaps to stuff to run, right? Stuff like that. Once you get those kind of basics down, Matt, I think you're going to be all right.
Mad Dog, trivia question. A nickel is the 5th defensive back, right? Okay. Nickel 5.
Yeah.
What do you think a 6th is called?
That's a trick question.
Dime?
That's correct.
Hey!
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't make a ton of sense given that a dime is 10, but yeah,
but
that's
like
correct.
It's the next. It's like next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because nice. I've heard like I've heard that tossed around before. I didn't. I was just using process of elimination there, but
hey, that was nice, man. That was nice. Yeah. You know what? I bet you there's a lot of dudes that wouldn't get that question.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I would like to know more, and I have a good teacher at my
disposal.
Did you enjoy watching film and doing that? I mean, it was your job, so like.
Enjoy. Yeah, it was just a part of the process. I think I enjoyed it in college because I was kind of learning the game at a higher level, right? And so at running back, I didn't really watch a lot of film for scheme. I mean, I did, don't get me wrong, but the majority of my film watching was player tendencies, right? And so, okay, I would watch all of their third down packages. Okay. So when we line up in a certain formation, I see the tendencies of their defense. So we used to get like packets. Okay. So this is why I would never want to be an NFL coach, right? Especially like a lower, like a GA. They have to go over every third down situation that team has ran. And they have to know what coverage they ran. They have to know what blitz that they ran. They have to know, personnel that was in. And then we get all of that data, we add it up and we say, okay, on 3rd and 4, right? On 3rd and 4 to 6, right? In this yardage, they're highly probable to be or line up in this if an offense shows them this. If we run 3 wides, right? They're going to play it like this 60% of the time. They're going to blitz 15% of the time, right? And so we have to account for all of that. And so when I'm watching film, I look for player tendencies. All right, on third downs, they like to if we run this, they like to bring this guy, right? They like to bring the corner, and when they bring the corner, I know that the safeties adjust. Okay, and if I see the safety start creeping, automatically my red light goes. Okay, I know a corner's coming. I got to pick him up. That's the kind of stuff that you watch, like as a running back. As a quarterback, you're a little bit more, and as a receiver too, they look at more coverages, right? I look at more pass protection. That's just my role in that offense. And so, did I enjoy it? I did not enjoy it. It was just more of, it's part of the process. There was plenty of times I saw like where I knew something was going to happen in the game if I did it. And like I've scored off that before because I watched film. Okay, if I give him this, he's gonna go for it because he has to protect it. He has this leverage, right? Or if I show him this, he's gonna go for it. Like little games, like I would look. This is the fun part, right? So I'm lining up, and you see linebackers, and everybody's watching each other's eyes. This is part of the game within the game, right? And I know what he's responsible for if we line up in something, and so I'm looking this way, right? I'm looking this way when I know I'm going the other way, and that kind of tees them off. It doesn't work all the time, but like sometimes you can play those games and get them out of position just by like how you're looking and where you're looking at. Stuff like that was really fun, watching film. But yeah, it's part of the game. It was an enjoyable part for the most part. Yeah.
Love that.
You do know yeah. I sometimes forget. Like,
yeah, I know ball.
You know ball, like very like not that I never thought you would. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't forgot a lot. You know what I'm saying? Being inundated with it for so many years, there's tons I forgot that I'll pick right back up once, like if I started to study it again. But it's useless information that I still have a lot of it, but a lot of it has gone by the wayside, especially because my CTE.
Yeah, right.
My mom hates when I make that joke. She gets so pissed, dog. It's so funny.
Rightfully
That
so.
is not funny, Arian. I'm like, yeah, it is though. It is.
I guess, I mean, you can make jokes about it. It's your brain.
My brain. Yeah, it's my brain. Yeah.
And if it's still good enough to be making jokes, then it's probably all right.
Yeah.
That is the metric.
And I'm glad that you don't have like this, you're not a mean person. Or like,
thank you, Maddie. I appreciate that.
Like, you're not a volatile person.
Nah, hell no, man. I'm like, I like to talk shit to my people, but I'm not going to nicest cats. I just want peace and love for my people.
I mean, we see some people, and unfortunately, I think their brains have gone that way.
Yeah. My go ahead.
No, finish your.
I was gonna say my what do they call it? My bad attribute is apathy. Like if I get to the point of somebody and I'm apathetic towards you, there's like really no turning back. Like if you push me to the point if I don't give a fuck about you, I can flip that switch really
The
fast.
opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference.
Mm-hmm.
Bang. Love that.
I had a football coach that would say, you should only worry when I stop yelling at you.
That is true.
Said if I'm yelling at you, that means I care.
Yeah, man. That's a real thing.
You mentioned something that I did want to. I didn't have it teed off today until you said something, and it reminded me that I do.
Yours.
I hope you had an amazing time with your friends at your Thanksgiving get together the other day. I
did. I went 2-1 in pool, and one was because I knocked the 8-ball in. But
love that, and I'm sure it was amazing.
What?
The proliferation of the term Friendsgiving
okay
has teed me off to a point that it's really, and every time about this time of year, it's when it comes around. So the word Thanksgiving does not have any familial implication in it. You are giving thanks. You can be giving thanks for whatever you want. A gathering of your friends could still be Thanksgiving. It doesn't have to be just with your family. So, and it's just something about the word. I just don't like it. Friendsgiving. It sounds too liberal to me.
Can I ask you something else based off of?
It's too liberal for friends.
Yeah.
That's just crazy, bro.
No, it's just a lot of New York City Friendsgivings. You know, not a lot of Friendsgivings happening in you know.
I think there's a differentiation between Friendsgiving and Thanksgiving would be exactly what you described. Thanksgiving is more for family. Friends are included in that sometimes, but Friendsgiving is more like this just like the homies. Like this is not really like
and I
mom
love
and
that.
dad
And I love
yeah.
the idea of it.
So what would you call it?
I would say I had a Thanksgiving get together with my friends.
Yeah, but we all shorten that shit up.
Yeah, it's just, I don't like the word. I don't love the word.
Have you ever had a Friendsgiving?
Not in so many words, really.
This is the problem. You need a Friendsgiving, and you'll see.
I can also guarantee where this is going, but if you don't like Friendsgiving, I can't imagine how you feel about the word situationship.
I don't hate it nearly as much, but
Really?
but I mean, there are definitely, yeah. I mean, that's a.
Have you been in a situationship, or we want to keep that?
No, but that's just a word that like 25-year-olds in New York City use to say that like they're having sex with somebody, but they're not dating them. And like so yeah, I find it ridiculous, but I the word itself.
What would you call that?
Well, what I would call it, you don't want to know, but
yeah, I do want to know.
I don't know. I'm just saying it's the word Friendsgiving.
Lost souls. That's what you call it.
No, it's just never sounded great to me. I don't know.
It isn't. It isn't.
But the idea of it, I love. I think it's amazing.
You talking about situationships?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I feel you. I think if you was to have a Friendsgiving, you would lighten up on your stance on the term. Because I'm not in love with it. I don't say it much. I don't do it every year. But I've heard of them before and never really thought about me liking or disliking the word. But they're fun, man. It's like Thanksgiving without the adults, even though, we are the adults. It's Thanksgiving without kids and old folks. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's a great time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. I think that does it for today's episode. Hopefully, Eric recovers from his syndrome. He'll be back Wednesday. I don't know topic. Well, we'll hit the group chat. And see what we all want to talk about. But unless anybody got anything else, that will be all from the Macro crew. So peace, love. Tip your waiter. Holla.